when I'm sitting down to paint a bat, it's almost like the world stops and it's just everything is quiet and I get to focus on one thing. So I'm Jeremy Mitchell, founder of Mitchell Bat Company. And I hand paint heritage-inspired baseball bats. I was in the 3rd grade and my buddy Jason Hargrove shows me his Darryl Strawberry rookie card. And I actually have that card over there. The first one that I saw, this is an A. I had never seen a baseball card like behind glass. It was in a case. And it was just interesting to like learn a little bit about these baseball players on just like a 3-inch by 2-inch piece of cardboard. But it really was like the stripes and the patterns and stuff that got me into baseball. I mean, this is really where I've gotten like all my inspiration from, just like the stripes and just like the craftsmanship. These are Evansfield Flannels, makes these jerseys. They're all handmade. If I'm ever like, need inspiration of something, or I want to, experience something that's like very cool, these jerseys are always here. This one actually should probably go in a frame. This is a autographed Cal Ripken Jr. jersey. Moneyball, the Oakland A's jersey, now Las Vegas A's. Yeah, I just keep this stuff around because it's like, it's cool and it reminds me of like why I'm doing this. My favorite jersey is my Darryl Strawberry autographed jersey. And I love the Mets branding, just like the blue and orange, I think was always really cool, and the pinstripes. In the summer of 2013, there's a guy named Brad Davis who's a designer here in town. He's like a retoucher, photographer, retoucher, and branding designer. He emails me out of the blue and he was like, "Hey, I got a group of guys that we want to help this skateboard company. It's called Salem Tone Board Co." I mean, they were creating skateboards out of pieces of wood that were huge, and they were like making them by hand and sanding them, and like they were putting the different colors of stain and using tape and spray painting. And I was like, dude, this is awesome. Like, this is incredible. I want to make something. I was just thinking about, what can I do with my hands, and what can I paint, and what can I, do with like raw wood, and baseball bats was like the thing that I thought of. This was August 1st, 2013, Nashville, Tennessee, and we already had a logo because I had my logo done up like in a baseball script, Jeremy Mitchell, like two years prior to launching the Bat Company, and very first ones that I ever drew or designed. That's actually the first one right there. That's one I made. It was October 30th, 2013, and the Red Sox were playing the Cardinals at Fenway. I had already told my wife about this like bat company, and she was like, how are you gonna do this? You don't even have bats. Like, you don't even know how to paint a bat. During a commercial break, about 3.5 minutes, I buy the URL, mitchellbatco.com. I spin up a quick little website with 2 bats on there for sale. And on the description, I had written that it'll take 6 to 8 weeks to get a bat. And so the Red Sox won the World Series in Boston, and I created a bat company in Nashville. And so when I started selling these bats, like people asked like, how can I display them? And so I started making these leather holders. This one's actually made out of an old baseball mitt. But the arbor press is just to like punch holes and stuff. I don't really use it as much as I use like this hand tool right here. The original idea actually was to take bats like from the like thrift store or like an antique shop and do like antique bats, but like that is not scalable at all. And I found this guy who had a picture of these like blank bats, and they had like tips on them where you had to like cut the tips off and sand them or whatever. So this is how I get the bats. So I get them with this like tip on the end, and this is how they came off the lathe. I read where he was from, or where he was operating from, and it was like 30 minutes from my house, and had a phone number. And I could not believe that this guy is like right here, basically like down the street. But it's funny how it started with that one bat out of that box from eBay. Depending on how like rough the bat is when I get it, I just kind of sand it down with this like 400 grit. And the smell of that maple. It's really nice, I think. This right here is kind of like the evolution, or like the process. And so blank bat, obviously, looks like this. And then I tape it off right here. And so this is gonna remain wood colored or uncolored. It's just like patience and focus, because it's really hard, believe it or not, to make a straight stripe on a round object. And that's just a fun challenge that I get to have all the time. A lot of the bats that I paint they start off white, because most of the designs I have, like it's like has white stripes or there's a white logo. I have to pay attention to what colors go in what order. If you put red under white, that turns pink, and that's not what I'm going for. Make sure that everything is straight, and I'm eyeballing it to make sure that it's not wavy. And I think this is like very therapeutic. Like sometimes I might have a movie going, or like music playing, or sometimes I just work in complete silence, which is also great. This was one of the original designs. So this used to be the St. Louis. I call it the St. Louis. But the color story is all here. Like this is where I want your eye to go. So I intentionally put my logo on the knob small, away from the barrel, because I want the main story on the bat to be on the barrel. And then my logo is like secondary. And that's the way it's always been. That's what I've always wanted to do. Recently, my short-term goals really is to really focus on college. So these are like the ones that I do like for the website. But there's like Illustrator files that I do for like just concepting. Yeah, so like I get these from colleges, and I can go through and look and see like what I think would work on a bat. Like obviously like that's really cool. I like that, and I just like take that into Photoshop. And this process right here, it also is like very like soothing to me. Like I love getting into like Photoshop and designing something, and they get a bat in the mail, and I know that what I sent them is good and accurate because they saw it online, they approved it. So I have to match colors all the time. So obviously like that's LSU, like those two colors. Orange is probably one of the hardest colors to get right. So like UT, I'm sending all these different colors, and it's a wide range. Same for red. The Ole Miss red is not the Alabama red, and the Alabama red is not Arkansas red. So we have to kind of play with what we have. This is Florida. So Florida would be this blue and this orange. That's Florida. Plus white. So like there's your Gators colors. This is actually the first LSU bat I've ever made. First one. There's the LSU national champions. Like it's just like tape. It's a lot of patience. It's I use the same kind of spray paint that I've used since the beginning. I want to paint these bats. Let's see. Safety first. So you gotta have the mask. Put this on. Ski goggles. Everything's made to order. Like since the beginning, I've never pre-made anything. And so everything is custom made for you. One time somebody wrote, Mitchell Bat Company, the most beautiful piece of sporting equipment you'll never want to use. I thought that was pretty profound. Baseball is a slow sport. And so my process is slow and tedious, just like the game of baseball. And so I kind of like how that's like a mirror of that.